Have you ever taken that first sip of your morning coffee hoping it will wake you up, only to feel even more drained by noon? As a doctor, I see this every day. Men and women over 60 who depend on coffee to start the day, but somewhere along the way, that familiar cup stopped helping and started hurting. The truth is, after 60, your body changes more than your taste in coffee. We lose muscle sometimes, as much as 8% every decade, and with it goes strength, balance, and confidence. That's not just aging, that's biology stealing your power. But what if I told you that the same cup draining your energy could actually rebuild it? That with one simple tweak, coffee can turn from a habit into a daily therapy for your muscles, your heart, and your brain. Today I'm going to show you how 8 natural powders right there in your kitchen can transform that morning ritual into real medicine. So before you pour your next cup, listen closely, because this could be the small change that rewrites how you age and how strong you feel doing it. I've learned that what exhausts most people over 60 years in age, it's unstable blood sugar. When your glucose jumps up and crashes down, your muscles run out of fuel, the same way a car sputters when it's low on gas. That's where cinnamon steps in. Just half a teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon in morning coffee can steady those spikes. One clinical review from the Journal of Medicinal Food showed seniors using cinnamon daily improved insulin sensitivity by nearly 25% within 8 weeks. I once treated a patient who could barely climb his porch steps after lunch. His energy dropped like a rock. We added cinnamon to his coffee instead of sugar. 2 weeks later, he called laughing, saying he'd walk the block without stopping. The spice didn't just flavour his drink, it stabilised his engine. And that's the secret. When your blood stays steady, your muscles finally get a constant flow of power. But flavour alone isn't enough. To drive oxygen deeper into every cell, the next powder works from the inside out, rich, dark, and unexpectedly sweet to your heart. When I talk to patients about cocoa, they usually smile and think of desserts or Valentine's Day. But the truth is, pure, unsweetened cocoa is one of nature's most powerful circulation boosters. Your blood vessels depend on something called nitric oxide. It's the signal that tells arteries to open up and deliver oxygen to your muscles. As we age, nitric oxide levels drop sharply, and that's why your legs may feel heavy or cold, even when your heart is fine. Cocoa's flavonols change that. Harvard researchers found that just 2 teaspoons of cocoa powder a day improved blood flow to the muscles by almost 30% in older adults. I had a patient 72 who loved her morning walks but said her pace kept slowing down. I asked her to add a teaspoon of cocoa to her coffee. No sugar, just the powder. Within 3 weeks she came back glowing. Her stamina had returned, and she said her hands and feet didn't feel icy anymore. That's the power of oxygen reaching where it hasn't in years. Cocoa brings warmth, calm and steady energy, but there's still one more issue: fuel. Circulation feeds your body, yet if your cells can't convert that fuel quickly, you still fade by mid-morning. That's where the next powder, a healthy fat that acts like jet fuel for your brain and muscles, comes in. Most people my age think fat is the enemy. I used to think so too until I saw what the right kind of fat could do for energy after 60. Your brain and muscles don't just run on sugar, they crave something steadier. That's where medium-chain triglycerides, or MCTs, come in. Found in coconut oil, these fats skip the long digestive route. They go straight to your liver and turn into ketones, clean fuel that keeps you alert and strong without the crash. I remember a retired bus driver who told me, "Doc, I drink my coffee at 7 and I'm starving by 9. We replaced his creamer with a teaspoon of MCT oil. The next week he said I made it to lunch without grabbing a muffin. 2 months later he was down 7 pounds and swore his mind felt sharper. It wasn't magic, it was metabolism finally switching back on. MCTs don't just fight fatigue, they train your body to use energy efficiently again. But strength isn't built on energy alone. Muscles need raw materials, the kind that rebuild fibers from the inside out. And surprisingly, you'll find them in something most people already pour into their coffee every morning. For decades, I watched patients drink coffee black, proud that they'd kicked cream and sugar, but after 60, black coffee alone can't protect your muscles. Your body needs high-quality protein early in the day, when your cells are most responsive to rebuilding. That's why adding milk or soy milk isn't a luxury, it's a biological advantage. Regular milk delivers complete protein, calcium, and leucine, the amino acid that literally switches on muscle repair. In fact, a University of Illinois study found that seniors who consumed leucine-rich protein with breakfast built nearly 20% more lean tissue over 12 weeks than those who waited until dinner. Soy milk works just as well for those avoiding dairy. It's rich in protein and isoflavones, plant compounds that support bone density and heart health. One woman in her 70s told me she never thought changing her coffee could affect her bones until her next scan showed improvement. The secret wasn't supplements, it was consistency. When you give your body the building blocks it's been missing, it starts to rebuild itself quietly, cup by cup. But the structure holding everything together, your tendons, joints, and skin, needs a different kind of support, something most people think belongs only in beauty ads. Every time I bend to tie my shoes, I'm reminded that strength isn't just about muscles, it's about what holds those muscles together. Collagen is that framework, the invisible scaffolding, that keeps joints smooth, tendons flexible and skin resilient. After 60, our natural collagen production drops by roughly 1% every year. That may not sound like much until your knees start to ache, your back stiffens, or recovery from a simple walk takes days instead of hours. I had a patient who loved gardening but had to give it up because kneeling left her sore for days. I suggested adding 1 scoop, about 10 grams of hydrolyzed collagen to her morning coffee. 3 months later, she sent me photos of her garden blooming again, saying, "It's not just the plants coming back, it's me." Science backs her up. A 2022 nutrients review found that collagen supplementation reduced joint pain and improved mobility in adults over 65 by as much as 35%. Collagen doesn't work overnight, but with steady use, it knits your tissues back together quietly, like a craftsman restoring an old bridge. Still, muscles need more than a sturdy frame. They need firepower to grow stronger. That next boost comes from a source most people think is only for athletes. People often tell me protein powders are for gym kids, not for me. I smile because after 60 you actually need more protein than you did in your 30s, not less. That's due to something called anabolic resistance, where aging muscles stop responding efficiently to regular meals. Whey protein cuts through that resistance like a signal flare, waking up your muscle cells and telling them to rebuild. It's rich in leucine and branched-chain amino acids, which trigger muscle synthesis faster than any other food source. A Harvard study found that older adults who added just 1 scoop, around 20 grams of whey, isolate daily increased lean muscle by 38% over 8 months compared to those relying on diet alone. One retired teacher I advised used to feel her arms turn soft and weak. Even carrying groceries left her breathless. She started blending unflavoured whey into her morning coffee. No sugar, just smooth, silent fuel. Within weeks, her grip improved, her walks felt easier, and she said something I'll never forget: "I feel sturdy again." That's what whey does. It doesn't bulk you up, it brings you back. Yet even with strength returning, many seniors still struggle with stiffness and slow digestion. To truly keep moving, we need something tiny, simple and surprisingly powerful. They look like nothing, just little black dots that stick to your spoon, but chia seeds are one of nature's quiet miracles. Inside each seed is a perfect trio: plant-based protein, omega-3, fatty acids and fibre. Together they fight 2 things that make aging harder: inflammation and sluggish digestion. As we get older, our gut slows down, which means nutrients take longer to absorb and toxins linger longer than they should. 1 tablespoon of ground chia in your morning coffee can change that. Studies from the Journal of Nutrition and Metabolism show chia's soluble fibre helps regulate blood sugar and supports healthy weight by improving satiety for up to 4 hours. I once had a patient who complained that breakfast left him bloated and sleepy. We added chia to his coffee ground finely so it blended in like cream. Within a few weeks he said, "Doc, I feel lighter." His belly flattened, his energy lasted till evening, and his knees didn't ache when getting out of his truck. That wasn't coincidence. It was balance restored. Chia does more than keep you regular. It nourishes every cell quietly the way roots feed a tree. But balance alone isn't enough. To calm the inflammation that ages our joints and arteries, we need the golden spice that's been healing bodies for centuries. When I first mentioned turmeric, people usually picture curry, not circulation. Yet this golden powder holds curcumin, the most studied natural, anti-inflammatory compound on earth. Inflammation is the silent thief of aging. It stiffens joints, narrows arteries, and drains the spark from your muscles. Curcumin works by lowering inflammatory cytokines, those chemical alarms that keep your body on constant alert. But there's a catch: curcumin alone isn't easily absorbed. That's where black pepper steps in. Its compound piperine increases curcumin absorption by up to 2,000% according to research from the University of Michigan Medical School. A 73-year-old man I treated used to say his knees felt like rusted hinges every morning. We added half a teaspoon of turmeric and a pinch of black pepper to his coffee. The warmth of the drink helps activate the compounds. After a month, he called and said, "I can kneel again, Doc." His garden had been waiting, and so had he. Turmeric and pepper don't just fight pain, they restore motion. They remind your body what youth once felt like, fluid-free, alive. And when you pair this duo with the other 7 powders, your morning coffee becomes more than a drink. It becomes a ritual of renewal, one that quietly rewrites what aging can feel like. Every morning offers a choice to repeat yesterday's fatigue, or to rebuild today's strength. The powders I've shared aren't magic. They're simple natural allies that remind your body how to heal itself. When you blend cinnamon for balance, cocoa for circulation, MCT for clean energy milk, or soy for protein, collagen for repair, whey for power, chia for stability, and turmeric with black pepper for calm, your coffee becomes a daily act of care. Aging doesn't have to mean slowing down. It can mean mastering the rhythm of your own renewal. I want you to remember, your health is built in moments, not decades. Every cup, every choice, every morning matters. So start tomorrow differently, add even one of these powders, and feel the difference in your energy, your joints, and your confidence. If this message inspired you, save this video as a reminder that small habits create lasting change. And before you go, tap like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the latest medical insights and everyday science to keep you strong, mobile, and independent. I'd love to hear which powder you'll try. First tell me in the comments, because your story might be the one that motivates someone else to start.